Hey, what's up everybody? This is Nightwing2303 from kicksoncourt.com. Today we have another performance review and it's on the Air Jordan 10 Retro. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So here's just a quick look at the traction of the Air Jordan 10. Everybody pretty much knows what the bottom of these guys look like. The bottom's pretty famous since it has all of the attributes and whatnot. But basically it doesn't look like it would provide any traction, but it actually does. From front to back it looks perfectly fine. There's plenty of I guess you could say like rubber grooves in there, so you do get court coverage from front to back standpoint, so that is good. The surprising part though is like the medial and lateral movements where you got plenty of court coverage, and one of my favorite parts is all of the grooves that are actually in there, and they actually allow for a decent amount of flex. Not a whole lot, but with your weight in the shoe it definitely adds quite a bit of flexibility within the outsole itself. So as you can see, with all of those flex screws in there, your forefoot can maneuver pretty freely, and it can maneuver in almost any direction, which is nice. And the shoe will not only stay planted on the floor, but it will stay on your foot as well, which is key. You don't want your foot and the shoe itself to be two different components. You kind of want everything to be one and the same, which allows for the greatest amount of flexibility, range of motion, and coverage on the floor all at once. So the traction itself, it does not give you that squeak that you might be used to, but it does hold down your foot onto the court, which is great. And again, I have absolutely no complaints. Front to back, jump stops, jab steps, so on and so forth. Everything is perfectly fine. The surprising part was the medial and lateral movement. So when you're cutting around the screen or even stopping harshly at an angle, everything is covered no matter what. So the cushion in the Air Jordan 10 is basically a Phylon midsole with a full-length air unit which sits directly underfoot. It's not extremely comfortable like some of the more modern stuff, but mostly that's due because the Phylon is a little bit dense, and then the insole itself is a little bit dense as well. So if you wanted to get that step-in comfort, just pull out the insole and then put in like an Ortholite or something from like maybe the Flyweight 2 or even one of the more recent LeBrons, and you'll be perfectly fine. One thing that I really did like though is right in the heel here, it dips down into the shoe. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It kind of like curls inward. So upon heel strikes, that adds for a little bit more compression while leaving you still balanced and stable on the floor. So it makes your heel to toe transitions fairly smooth. So even though it's not 360 air like you might be getting used to with LeBrons and things like that, with the 180 bags and so on, it's still got pretty good coverage, and it's definitely adequate for on-court use. The materials, personally, I think they're great. Basically, it really depends on the colorway, but most of them are just like this, where it's got a plain upper, which is all leather, and then you have a couple of nylon straps here, which are your lacing system, along with these elastic bungee cords. And I think that the leather is just fantastic. I love leather sneakers. I love playing in leather sneakers. It does not last as long as something like Fuse, you know, a plastic-based upper, but it's definitely comfortable, and it looks good, it feels good, and it kind of gives you that luxurious feeling that you miss with some of the newer models that you get with the Fuse and the sprint frames, or not sprint frame, but a sprint web and so on and so forth. So the materials themselves, I think that they're awesome. They're plush. A lot of people had complaints about this shoe. Honestly, the quality in them is great. It's great materials. It's really nice leather, and there's really nothing that you can complain about. The fit itself is one of the best parts about this shoe. First off, I like the clean, simple look, which has nothing to do with performance whatsoever, so I think that that's a plus. But again, the fit itself, it's true to size. Everything from the heel back is locked in. If you guys can see those nylon straps there, and then you have your top ankle eyelet just to kind of enclose everything and keep it in there. But these two guys right here really draw that heel in there, so when you guys see something like fly wire and a nylon strand and things like that, and it's pointing towards the heel, you're usually going to get pretty decent lockdown, just because that's going to be pulling that area and wrapping it around, keeping this part locked into the back of the shoe. So the rest of this stuff, it's shaped just like, I guess you could say, fingers. It covers the entire midfoot section of the foot, keeping everything in place in this section. There's not a lot of dead space in here. The material is able to retain its shape pretty well, mostly due to the narrow and snug fit that you get with these bungees things, because it keeps everything really snug. So the fit is great, the materials are awesome, and these are probably one of the best Jordans that I've played in so far to date. Ventilation's pretty obvious. Basically you just have a mesh tongue and that's pretty much it. So ventilation's very, very limited, and if you need that in a shoe, it's obviously not going to work for you, but if you don't mind, then go ahead and grab a pair of Air Jordan 10s, lace them up, and get your butt on court. The support overall is very basic. I thought most of the support was going to come from the extra overlays of materials, which actually isn't. I don't know if you're going to be able to see just like how messed up the materials kind of get after a while. That's what leather does. If it was wrapped all the way up the shoe, then maybe it would be different, like if it was tied in a lacing system, but these right here, these overlays don't do really much of anything. Your support's coming from the overall fit itself, and then these little humps here, then the phylon, your foot actually rests inside of those. So those act like, I don't know what to call them, just kind of like supportive pieces, similar to the Nike Air Penny with that big giant wing over here, except for this is obviously a lot more slimmed down, and this came before the Penny, so you can't really knock it. And then your foot also rests inside here, and also inside here, and a little bit in here. So all of this stuff is just support for your foot, keeping you caged into the midsole. And again, I think that is awesome. I love how it feels. And the one thing that I will say though is that in this shoe, mostly with my right foot, I did feel my foot flex a little bit, like I guess you could say overstretch the arch. This is the first time I've actually felt that in a shoe without a shank plate. So it does definitely make you appreciate some of the newer stuff that is going to be present on the next model, the Air Jordan 11 and so on. Alright guys, so that pretty much takes care of the performance review on the Air Jordan 10 Retro. I think that these are one of the better retros that you can probably play in. Being that they released earlier this year is also a plus. You can get them for a decent price, and they're practically brand new, so it's not going to wear out on you very quickly like some of the older retros as far as glue and material breakdowns and things like that. So these are very fun to play in. They're pretty comfortable, and the fit and materials are great. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support, and until next time guys, have a good one.